This week's game is a genre we haven't seen much on the system thus far, quiz games. On November 18th, 1999, Bandai Visual released Nazo Ou Pocket on the WonderSwan, an adaptation of their 1996 PlayStation quiz game, Nazo Ou. Before I go into Nazo Ou in particular, I want to first distinguish what makes Bandai Visual different from the greater Bandai brand, as it's relevant to what makes Nazo Ou special as a game. Bandai Visual is effectively Bandai's publishing and distribution house for anime and film productions. While they've dabbled in directly producing certain anime series, the bulk of what they do is finding anime series a home for broadcast or home video releases of OVAs, films, and series having already aired on television. It's those relationships with television networks that made Nazo Ou more than what it ought to have been. Nazo Ou's quiz questions were written by a legend of Japanese television, Takeshi Michitsuta, also known as the Quiz King. Growing up in Yokohama in the 60s and 70s, he became an avid fan of MBS's Up Down Quiz, a weekly 30-minute quiz show that ran from 1963 to 1985. At the age of 17, he made his first appearance on a televised quiz show, Fuji Television's Quiz Grand Prix, the Japanese equivalent to Jeopardy, as part of a tournament involving high school students. Shortly after he entered college, he started making appearances on countless television quiz shows, eventually being named the Student Quiz King on the Transamerica Ultra Quiz in 1981. The Quiz King name stuck with him even after graduation, and he continued to garner fame as a regular quiz show contestant. In the late 80s, he made his debut as a quiz question writer for TBS's Shijo Saikyo no Quiz O Kettei-sen, and has since contributed to 26 different quiz show series, including the currently popular Q-sama on TV Asahi. Nazo Ou Pocket has 4 question types: true-false quiz, multiple choice quiz, ordering quiz, and speed quiz. The first 2 are pretty self-explanatory, so I won't dwell on those. Ordering quiz questions give you a statement for context and a list of 3 or 4 things you must select in the correct sequence. For example, you might be asked to explain the acronym ADDP, and given the words dissect, analyze, process, and detect, to which you'd have to answer the correct sequence of analyze, dissect, detect, process. Speed quiz questions slowly reveal a question character by character, and you must try to answer the question as early as possible, filling in the rest of the question in your mind. Of course, due to how Japanese sentences can be constructed, there can often be a trap in the form of an extra clause at the end, which changes the answer of what the obvious question would have been until that point. There are 2 main game modes here: Kingdom Invasion mode, which is a story mode, and Solitary Confinement mode, which is a straightforward practice mode. The story mode consists of going through 8 chambers before reaching a final 4-story tower. Each chamber or floor has a necessary ratio of correct answers to misses, and if you don't hit the minimum requirements, you don't clear the area. There are also items you can gather which can relax minimum requirements, regain life points, or give you more time to answer questions. Yes, you do have life points in this game, which decrease if you throw yourself into the sea from top-down sections of the game, or every time you get a question wrong, you lose a point, and when you hit 0, it's game over. The original Nazo Ou had a reputation for being a top-tier kusoge, or a shitty game. This was for 2 reasons. The first was that the minimum requirements for clearing an area were far too strict, and the second was its horrible and oppressive aesthetic. Almost everything in the game was pre-rendered CG from the mid-90s, and it looks absolutely horrible today. The cutscenes are amazingly bad, and the story doesn't make any sense at all. This is the kind of game that Let's Players are playing nowadays purposefully because they know it's so bad that it'll guarantee a hilarious video. My theory is that the oppressive aesthetic and the difficulty were meant to complement each other on your quest to dethrone the Riddle King, a stand-in for the Quiz King himself, challenging you with his arsenal of trivia questions. Nazo Ou Pocket obviously ditches the CG treatment that didn't age so well, but it also keeps the nonsensical story and setting. The harsh requirements have been relaxed, partially because the length of each round has been shortened, or has been split into multiple phases, probably in order to be a better fit for a portable environment, where you can't guarantee being able to play for long stretches of time. While the difficulty being lessened makes it slightly more accessible to a wider range of players, it does distance itself from the harmonious relationship between aesthetic and difficulty I had found in the PlayStation version. Like Kosodate Quiz Dokodemo My Angel, the major issue that this game has is the context surrounding it. Questions in this game fall into one of 5 genres: sports, entertainment, science, society, and cultural history. While you might be well versed in today's athletes, celebrities, and politicians, this game was made in 1999, so that knowledge is unlikely to be of any help to you here. How well do you know Japan around the turn of the millennium, and in the 20 years prior that most quiz games assume you're knowledgeable about? You're unlikely to be able to carry yourself through the game purely through evergreen science and history questions, and of course, all of this assumes you can read Japanese in the first place. By all means, Kosodate Quiz Dokodemo My Angel is the better game in the genre, despite the inclusion of the Quiz King himself, so if you can play Japanese quiz games, I'd prioritize that one. If you want the true Nazo Ou experience though, I'd definitely recommend the PlayStation version over this one.